this part on half and half. Do this part on half and half. We will discuss with love and laugh. We will discuss with love and laugh. One of our favorite shows that mean so much to us. You know we had to show love. We had to show love. We will recap every episode. Talk about all the jokes that were told. Maybe even get a little tea. Tune in and see.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Big Half and Half Rewatch podcast, the podcast where we wonder if it's too late to have your mother put one of those Detroit hurtings on her, as we rewatch and discuss the UPN sitcom Half and Half that aired from 2002 to 2006. I'm Barrett.
I'm Miles.
And what's today's episode, Miles?
Today's episode, let's just go straight to the rap. You know, we got a little rap for y'all. Let's go straight into the recap rap. Mona and Dee Dee get Spencer a blind date. They seem to fall real fast. Is this fate? But then Dee Dee finds out it's a trick. Spencer's being used. Ain't that a bitch? His girl wants to make her ex jealous. She really wants to be back with her ex fella. When Spencer sees the truth, will Spencer see the truth before it's too late? Or just be mad at Mona thinking she's full of hate? Let's see.
Well,
it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the big upsetting setup episode from December 16th, 2002. And one of the top movies at that time was Made in Manhattan. And 20 something years later, she's still making the same movie. If you know what works for you, I guess stick with it. So,
I'm going to stick beside a J-Lo rom-com all day, every day. People can say a lot of things about my girl, but they can't say she don't deliver in these rom-coms, man. So I'm for the new one.
J-Lo, and nothing else. But this was written by Jay Dyer, a black man I was excited to see. And you all might know him. Well, maybe just me and Miles, because we like obscure television. But he worked on All About the Andersons, which was hilarious.
All About the Andersons. I think
that's All About the Washingtons.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. Damn.
Trying to get some brownie points from Allison Faust. She worked on that show.
I was.
But I loved both shows, and they both only got one season. And it had my other girl, I have a lot of girls, but Roz Ryan, and her episode of Half and Half is one of my favorites. But she's on there playing Anthony Anderson's mother, and R.I.P. John Amos playing his father. Check it out on YouTube. I don't know if it's anywhere legitimate, guys. And he also worked on DAG, which that's a real throwback for you Delta Burke fans. And David Allen Greer, who has done a lot of shows that don't last long, and they're all hilarious. So hopefully St. Denis Medical will break that cycle.
It did get renewed. I know it got renewed. So we're at least going to get a season 2.
I think this season 3.
Or season 3. Season 3. They doing good.
You know, we can't get past season 2 on a lot of shit.
Right. So they doing good over there.
Very few shows have gotten canceled at 3 years. Like Hearts of Fire with John Ritter is one that comes to mind, but it's very rare. So I'm hoping.
Well, that's because, I mean, to get into the nitty gritty of pointless things, but that's because there used to be an incentive once you got to season 3, you were so close to 100 episodes, but that's not the case anymore because they're doing 10 episodes, 12 episodes a season. So it doesn't really mean anything. It used to mean something.
Syndication, I guess, does not have quite the same appeal. It almost seems like they only care if it's been on like 10, 20, not 20, but 10, 12 years. Then they're excited, like for Modern Family, Big Bang. But if it's anything less than that, it's like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember the last show that wasn't one of the ones you just named that like really is crushing in syndication. Like, The Neighborhood, which also went like 8 seasons they're in their 8th season, I think, or something like that. And I see that that's like really doing good in syndication. It's always playing on BET, whatnot.
Is Abbott is syndicated yet? I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
But when it does, it's gonna be some nice little coins.
Yeah, I think that'll be the next one to probably hit the barrier for sure.
We'll be waiting. And I didn't even. Well, I guess I'll mention anyway. Eminem's song "Lose Yourself" still number 1. I'm sick of talking about that. I need a new song, guys. I mean, how long was this on the charts? I don't check charts, so maybe that's normal for songs to stay for.
This was a monster, man. Like this song probably stayed up there for a long time. This was a monster.
Well, congrats.
It's still being used in like movies and commercials like right now. Like every time a new movie come out, it's almost in there. Like it's crazy.
I'm sure I've probably seen. I can just picture somebody like boxing or something, and this is playing in the background.
Exactly that. Any sports movie or big action thing, they always love to go to that one.
Well, congrats to you, Marshall. We'd love to have you on sometimes, but I'd have some hard questions for you. So, um, you want to get us started with this episode? Set a scene. Let us know what's going on for those that maybe, didn't watch it, but somehow are listening to this for some reason.
Yeah, man. So again, as the rap relayed, Mona and Dee Dee set up Spencer on a blind date with a woman that they know. I think it's mostly Dee Dee's friend, but they saw her at the gym, and she was complaining about being single. So then they're like, "Oh my gosh," Dee's like, let's set her up with Spencer," and they're like, "All right, bet." And then things go a little crazy. So we
Yeah.
start
Mhm.
the episode scene one. There, Spencer busts into Mona's place, and he's had a bad date. He's complaining like, you know how you say a woman wants to meet you for lunch instead of dinner. She's not that interested. What does it mean when you get there? She says, "I thought you were somebody else,"
I
and
mean, it
so
happens. It has happened to
yeah,
me in a
it's
sense.
that's
I
yeah,
mean,
that's rough.
I was supposed to meet somebody, and when he came up to me, I was like, he sure looks different from his pictures. But,
Yeah.
we're talking, hanging out, whatever. I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. And much later, someone else walks up to me while I'm talking to this young man, and I'm like, wait, aren't I supposed to be on a date with you? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so then who are you? Because I had been with him for
Wow.
like 30 minutes or something like that. And I'm just like, well, this is awkward, but I'm gonna go with him now. Nice talking
Yeah, I
to you.
mean,
It turns out that the guy that I thought was my date just knew me because we had a mutual friend. So he was just like saying hi. And I thought he was like approaching
oh,
me because we're supposed to be going out. And maybe I held him hostage. I don't know.
right,
Because we just
right.
kept talking. So good thing I happened to run into the right person. So maybe that's what happened with Spencer. But it's
That's
so
rough.
sad how Spencer gets done. Like again, this is he's a nice looking man, well built, well dressed, nice apartment,
Yeah,
good job. Is it because San Francisco's just mostly gay men and so it's harder to find? I don't know. Like there's still a lot of straight women there. What's going
right.
on, Spence? What are you doing on these dates?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed on the surface to be like it would be a good place to date. So I don't know. He's just out here having bad luck, man. So he's in a slump clearly with the lady. So he's asking like, what should he do? And then he like, should I start hanging out the mall with a puppy and a baby again? That worked for me last time.
Not
And
again.
like
Where did he get this baby?
again, it's crazy because where did you get the baby from, bro? We don't ever hear you having any siblings or any nieces and nephews.
He
So
just
like,
acquired it.
where does the baby come from when you need to go to the mall? But also, I feel like this is a thing people used to actually do. Like it sounds crazy, but like I definitely know men who back in the day would like
Mm.
go to the mall with like their little. I was probably at one point the baby or like the cute little boy that like my big cousins and my uncles would use to go to the mall and like reel in the women. Like
I
I've
feel
seen
like
it
that's the
firsthand.
thing I see in movies and TV, but I don't
It
know of any real
it
life
it happened, bro.
examples.
I was the baby, the little kid. I know I was. Like my cousins or my uncles would like deliberately take me to the mall, like, and I would get a win because I'm going to the mall to get some to the arcade to the pizza to pick up a CD or something. They treating me, but really I'm just here to reel
So they
in the
can say,
women.
"Oh, he's so good with kids." Oh,
Yup.
now you tell me. I could have used this information when I was single. I would have had baby Kiki out there with me, who you all can see on Beyond the Grapes now streaming. But
Hey,
after that, and she pulls out the Fry Daddy, and I was just thinking because I was looking at the show the other day, they do a lot of product placements on Half and Half, like
they do.
more than most, because they are very quick to have name brands mentioned or featured. And I guess
Yeah,
this time it was the Fry Daddy, which was a real thing that I remember. And if I didn't remember from childhood, I would have thought they made it up because I don't think they exist now. If they
yeah.
do,
I
they're
don't think.
not very popular. That was before air frying. We used to just deep fry everything. I had
Yep,
one with the basket and everything.
yep.
And they're doing Twinkies, which is interesting. They would be eating that because that's a very Midwestern thing to do, I believe, deep frying Twinkies. I've
It
never
is.
had one, but I noticed that whenever they're depressed, they always have some really unique snacks in different episodes, and they just kind of gorge food, to make each other feel better or themselves. So for it to be um, deep fried Twinkies this time, and she was ready. That Fry Daddy was very available. She just was like,
Yes.
here it is. So
This felt personal to one of the writers. I don't know who was on the staff deep frying these foods and coming up
Jay
with all of
Dyer, you
these.
over there deep
Right.
frying Twinkies? I mean, it sounds
Somebody was.
tasty.
Somebody
So,
was. I
I
know
ain't
I like
mad
a
at
deep fried Oreo, so I don't know if I've had Twinkies, but I've had deep fried Oreos and some other little deep fried treats in the South. So
Didn't work when
I'm
I was
open.
trying. I was putting Reese's in there, strawberries, anything I can get my hands on, and it typically turned out gross. But uh, after that, I don't think too much else happened before they are
No,
now at the gym with again the product placements, Mona and her Kool-Aid Jammers, which is
I thought that was crazy.
a
She
great
was
drink
on,
for the gym.
we started the scene. She's on the treadmill with a Kool-Aid jammer, which is nuts. Like,
That doesn't
first of
seem
all,
very hydrating
First
at
of all,
all.
it's not a good drink to drink while you're working out. Where's your water bottle? Second of all, to be an adult and to drink a Kool-Aid jammer in your own home is one thing. Do whatever makes you happy, I guess. But to take a Kool-Aid
Yeah,
jammer
she brought that
into
with her.
public and pull it out of your pocket or your purse, whatever she had to pull it out of,
Oh, Mona.
is very unhinged behavior. And I like a Kool-Aid jammer, but that's very unhinged. You got to draw the
I
line.
mean, I knew somebody who always had like cheeseburgers and tacos and stuff in her purse. And every time she came over, can I use your microwave? So I guess Kool-Aid jammers in hindsight aren't that crazy by comparison.
I
And
guess.
Mona doesn't go to the gym a lot, so maybe she thought that's what you do. And Stanleys weren't a thing back then. But
Yeah.
we see the return of Nurse Merce, which is interesting when we just saw her and she's back again, and that kind of
Yeah.
makes me feel like, oh, we're going to be seeing more of her. No, I don't think we ever saw her or heard of her ever again. But I wonder if, when writing this episode, if it was just going to be any random person, and then they were like, hey, we met some friends a couple episodes. Let's just use one of them because it really could have been anybody. She really had no shade, but she didn't really do nothing. So
Yeah.
she was just there.
Yeah, it could have been, but I think that this is probably them like again, it's still like early-ish in the show, so they might be trying to figure out like what their friend world look like and trying to like
Mhm.
involve more people to like make their world bigger. So I thought that was cool. What was also equally as crazy as Mona having the Kool-Aid jammer was how strong Essence was when the scene started. Because while Mona is chilling on the treadmill drinking her Kool-Aid jammer,
Mhm.
Essence is hanging from like this monkey bar situation, pulling and twisting. Like
Yeah.
she was strong as hell. Like the strength
She
that
was a
she
little
had.
buff. Like she
Yeah,
looked
she
like
was
she
like,
could beat
yeah. I was
somebody's
like,
ass.
okay, yeah,
So I ain't mad at you. I mean, I couldn't do it. Somebody was telling
exactly.
me today, oh, you should try to be a baggage handler. They make good money. Whose bags am I handling at my old age? I don't think I would last a day. Maybe a little cosmetics bag. So,
Right.
looking at her doing all of that that I probably can't do today, I'm here for it. She's probably my age because I know she wasn't as young as Dee Dee. So that's why you got
Right.
to start young, and that's why everybody looks so great now, probably. So work, Essence, you need to do a little workout tape or something if that's still a thing.
Facts.
But we meet Geneva, my girl. Now I know everybody is my girl, but that's my girl. She's like she up there with Telma and them. That's my girl for real. Even though
Okay.
I just, really got introduced to her. Of course, I've seen this episode, but watching Beyond the Gates,
Right.
shocking. Take a shot if you're if you're keeping
Right.
track. She plays Nicole, one of the leads, Nicole Dupree Richardson. And that's when I really, discovered her because she mainly does soaps and I'd never watched a soap before. So to
Right.
go back and realize this was her and her husband, now ex, spoiler on the show, is played by Keith Richards, who plays Neil, Dee Dee's boyfriend. So it's just like all
Mm,
intertwined and everything. And when I rewatched, I was like, oh my God, that's her. And I don't know how I didn't notice because she looks exactly the same.
she
Oh,
does.
and it's just the fountain of youth over there at half and half. But she comes onto the scene, and again, just like with Spencer, too attractive and decent and have so much going for you to be so thirsty. Why are they so thirsty?
Yeah. The fact that they both, Mona and her, both got tricked into coming to work out based on the premise that there would be men at the gym, and then they both found out that it's only women here was hilarious. Second of all, the fact that Mona didn't see the sign outside that said women's only and was
Mhm.
surprised when she got inside there wasn't no men in there was
Maybe
hilarious.
they went to Curves and she didn't know what it meant. But again, I hear people say that that's somewhere where you meet somebody. The limited times I've gone to the gym, I would make sure to go when no one was there so nobody could see me struggling. So I don't know if that's something that people are really doing. I feel like who's in the mood for that? You sweaty and hot and trying to work out. You ain't got time for that.
I wonder to say something sexist if like women might do it, but when I think men probably feel like you feel like I'm awkward, I'm sweating, I'm struggling, I'm doing all this, but like I do think from the male gaze, women are attractive at the gym. I don't know how women see men at the gym
I mean,
or
I do hear
men see
about
men at
men
the
trying
gym.
to approach women often, but I guess in this scenario, it seems that both parties are into it. And that's what I don't
Yeah.
ever see, where both people are just the man
Yeah.
all in the woman's face. But
Yeah.
Geneva seems so nice and so sweet
Yep.
and innocent. And I guess that should have been a signal, the fact that she jumped on it. Like, no picture. I know this was 2002, but there should have been some type of phone or something that could have shown a low res photo.
Something. Anything, especially because she has a phone, but I guess I don't know if it was. Oh no, she got a pager. She got paged later,
Hmm.
but she does have a phone. She had a phone in the previous episode. I don't know why. I don't know,
I mean,
but
maybe I guess the phone that time probably didn't have too much. And it's not like they could have pulled up social media, so perhaps
yeah.
that's
Where would you go?
believable. But no
Yeah.
description, just oh Boris Kojo. He don't look nothing like no Boris Kojo.
I
But
did find that like such a high compliment. Like black women loved him some Boris Kojo. So like for her to say that was like it made me feel like Phyllis, and I was like, girl, why don't you date him? You think he look like Boris Kojo? That's
I
everybody wanted a
mean,
Boris Kojo.
I I again, I would be questioning if I was Geneva, like, well, why aren't you with him? But
Right, if he
again,
all it is,
she just
what's the
wanted
deal?
anything, and that alone should have been an indicator for them that wait a minute now, if she's talking about, oh, I can deal with Jabba and shading Dennis Rodman,
That
that's the type of thing that would, be red flags for me.
it was absolutely crazy. She said, "Okay, he must be ugly because she was Mona was describing his like generosity and his niceness and other features." So she was like, "Oh, he ugly. Is he Jabba the Hutt ugly or is he Dennis Rodman ugly?" And then she said, "I can accept Jabba the Hutt."
Yeah,
So
rude.
she said Dennis Rodman was uglier than that was crazy to me.
Catching strays. What if he was a fan of the show and he's just enjoying it, now he getting dragged? Maybe
Like
he'd
he
like
just
it.
he caught a crazy stray. That was absolutely nuts.
But those are things, like I said, would make me question. Like somebody I know just got a job and he was like, "Oh, you want to work here? They'll hire anybody." That does not make me want to work here. The fact that you're
Right.
telling me they'll hire anybody, that's not an incentive. So you
It's
saying,
not.
that, oh, I'll take whatever, even if it's Jabba the Hutt, would make me question whether or not I want my friend to date you at this point. But
Exactly.
I guess they figured he was desperate, she was desperate, and since Dee Dee sees couples that
I
I
love
made
that line.
it okay. And I forgot how much people were really hammering that I see dead people shit into the ground after that
That
movie
lived
came
on
out.
for so long. It was a big movie and a big moment, man. That whole I
They
see dead
still
people
say it.
thing.
That was
I was gonna
1999.
say, like, yeah, like
Iconic.
still,
I gotta rewatch that.
and then it got like rebrought, I think, because it was like mocked in scary movie. So then like they became a thing again. Like it was just it never ended, man. I loved it.
And of
It
course,
definitely
Dee Dee
this
gets the
episode really did put me like in that specific time with like the references that were happening like that, where I was
yeah,
like, oh
very,
man, this feels very
very
much of that
relevant
moment.
time. And
Yeah. And
and
speaking of the time, I thought
mm,
something was like wildly toxic, and I was like, I don't know how I didn't like catch this. And like I was like again looking at how like in shape these women were and whatnot. But then the discussion amongst themselves was that like they needed to trick their friends into going to the gym as if they were like out of shape. And I know you can be like skinny and still like not be healthy, but the way that they were discussing it was like they were like sloppy out of shape. Like at one point, one of the friends, I think it was Mer said to Geneva that like I had to get her to come to the gym and trick her because skinny can jiggle too. Like as if she's like floppy or flat. And I was like, these girls are like the definition of being in shape, and the fact that they're like shaming each other for being like out of shape so much that they need to trick them and say men are here to get them to come to the gym was crazy to me.
and 20 years later, they all pretty much look the same
They
anyway.
all look exactly the
So
same.
yeah, I haven't seen the actress who plays Merce recently, but I would
Right.
assume it's probably, the same for her.
I
But
assume too.
I I'm curious if when Rachel's on the show, I am curious if her, I guess, weight loss later on, if that was any pressure from the network, because you always hear that, like with Margaret Cho and her show, and there was
Yeah.
another one that I forgot. Oh, Delta Burke, of course. There's just so many instances where the networks are really on them. Kim Cole's mentioned on the Reliving Single podcast that they were trying to get them to lose weight. So I wonder if she felt any pressure or if it
They
was just I'm
Which
just
is
doing it for me.
crazy if she did, but she might have like because I guess she's not like a pole, but like it's insane. Like I'm also listening to Daniel Fishel speak about this on Podme's World, where like they were ashamed her and Will Friedle got bigger, quote unquote, in later seasons and like literally just aging and like developing, and like they tried to shame them for being like fat, and like then like in real life, but also like then they made episodes to mock their weight. Like whole episodes were dedicated to like mocking Danielle Fishel's weight, which is freaking insane.
I mean, what can
Like,
I do? Count as fine. Like they made Kim Parker seem like she was morbidly obese with the jokes and
mhm,
everything, and she was just
yep,
a regular body.
just a regular body, like
So
a
you
nice regular
again, we
body.
watching you if this is what y'all were doing on here. Hopefully
Right.
not. But anywho, we flash forward to them at the infamous Lush Lounge. No Tina, unfortunately, in this
I was
episode,
looking forward to it too. I was disappointed.
ready for her to drag somebody. But having your friends on your first date with you seems really awkward.
To see them sitting there and then like they even real like well Dee Dee was like, isn't it weird that we're here? Like, why are we here at their first date? And she was like, we're gonna make it more comfortable for them and just we're gonna create a stress-free environment by being here. And like I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I think it's just
Yeah.
gonna be weird, girl. Y'all need to leave.
I mean, I could see if it was two couples, maybe, but
Right. Like
that's
if they all had dates, maybe like they could have been a triple date or something, but like for them to just be on the date with them was crazy.
they just nosy. That's all that is. And
Exactly.
even though Dee Dee mentions later that she has a man, whoever that is, maybe it's
I was
Neil.
wondering.
But I was gonna say if they had their own relationships, they wouldn't be so invested in Spencer's. But I guess I don't think is it Neil? Is she still with
I
Neil
I
at this
think it's
point?
still him. We didn't see a breakup, so I would assume so. But like, it was crazy that she A didn't say his name and B just threw it in at the end as if we were supposed to remember that this was a thing that was still
If only
happening.
he had been in the episode, we could have seen Ted and Nicole the early years, but that would have been
It
too good. We couldn't have
would have
had
been
it. But um they when they first meet Geneva and Spencer, which again, he's immediately like, oh, she didn't show up. Oh, where is she? No wonder him and Mona are
hmm
best friends. Neither one of them have self-esteem.
right.
So he was just ready to be rejected. How sad. Which is
Yep.
why he's often a target, probably because
Yeah.
of how he, not to victim blame, but look at what you're putting out there. And he was just with Lila like 2 episodes ago.
That's
And
what's crazy. It was like I don't know why he's acting like he's had the biggest dry spell of all time. Like it hasn't been that long, sir. Like relax, calm down.
And it was kind of a similar, problematic situation. And other than when he eventually gets with, isn't it Camille, the photographer, the British lady? I think that's
hmm
the only time we really see him in a positive relationship that I can think of. So again, as much as him and everybody else talks about Mona, he's worse. But I guess because it's a guy, it's okay.
Right.
Typical. But after that, in this episode, very just like, okay, 2 lines, next scene. So
Yeah, well,
now
I
we're,
mean, well, he got them the hell out of there. First of all,
yeah,
he thought it was just as weird that we also thought once she pulled up and he was like, "Oh, she fine." And then like he looked her into the eyes and was like, "This, she's beautiful. You're a beautiful woman." And then he looked at them and was like, "And it's a shame y'all have to go." And then they was like, both like, "We ain't got nowhere to be. Like, we cool. We yeah." And she was like, Dee Dee was like, "My calendar's wide open or something." And then he said, "And so is the door. I hear the curb is lovely this time of year.
yeah,
You
get
can
the
go."
hell out.
And
You
then
ain't got to go home,
yep.
but you got to get the hell out of
Yep.
here.
And then Geneva also liking what she saw was like, "Yep, go." So then they left.
All part of her master plan, of course,
Yep.
which really she could have done this to anybody, even though I'm skipping ahead. She didn't have to pick him. It could have been anybody.
To
And
do this to somebody you know,
right,
like
like your
why would
friend knows him,
it's so
no
messy,
respect.
so messy.
And um when they get back to Mona's apartment, I do also want to point out that they always have such great background activities on this show versus other
Yeah.
shows. Like they sitting up there putting CDs in a box to ship off, I'm assuming for some demo tapes, blah, 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 and
Yep,
it's never mentioned. And then
yep.
Phyllis just takes it with her to, I guess, drop it in the mailbox, but they never even say anything about it. But that's so interesting that they always, on this show specifically, are doing such interesting things. Most shows are just sitting there, and maybe with the Golden Girls, they always have like a newspaper. Blanche has the same book she's reading for like all 7 seasons.
Right.
But on here, very creative. So
I love it
whoever's
so
in charge
much.
of that.
I
Love
love it.
it. Makes it very realistic.
Yeah, I'm gonna give props to the director. I bet it was them, and I bet you because this was a rare show that had the same director for almost like every episode, they were allowed to like get into that minutia and that nitty gritty and just play around and focus on little weird small things like that. With that, like you said, most people wouldn't pay attention to, but of course we do, and I
Of course.
appreciate it. It really makes it feel real and like they really got other things going on, even things that we aren't even discussing out loud, like you said.
And Phyllis is back on her. You know what I told you? I tell you what I told you shit about trying to get Mona and Spencer together. She really did not appreciate that they just, handed him over to Geneva.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly what she said. It was something about the cheese loaf.
She said, and what did I tell you? I tell you what I told you, and you threw it away like that cheese log I gave you
Yes.
last Christmas,
So
and
why
I
is she
know you
giving her
did
Christmas gifts? Aren't they really? Maybe they
it.
just celebrate just for fun. But yeah,
Maybe.
she threw away the cheese log. That's messed up.
Yep.
Comparing
But yeah, I
Spencer
mean,
to her.
again, the way that this was set up, I was like, I too was like, all right, I'm on this boat. Like, why are you so excited for this man while you still out here single? And you say he looked like Boris Kodjoe, but nonetheless, she reassures her like, hey, ain't nothing gonna happen. Like, let this go. We just meant to be friends. And then Phyllis says, well, one of my favorite lines is she says, that boy's like Gumby. He could be molded into anything, or he could be molded into something. And I loved Gumby. I don't know if you watched Gumby as a
I
child,
did watch Gumby as a
but
child.
I thought that line was like so perfect.
I used to have the Gumby haircut back in the day, but
Yes, same.
we see Spencer pop in with Geneva and running into Phyllis. Phyllis is so shady. You could do
Yeah.
better on her way out the door.
Yep.
But at that point, that's when they say they're about to move in together. So I'm guessing this is like maybe 1 or 2 days after
They
the
said
first.
they say later they said it's a week and a half. They said 10 dates, but it's really also literally 10 days because they say a week and a half. So after a week and a
Is it a
half,
week and a half? I thought I heard weekend. Okay, week and a half is a little better, I suppose.
a little, but not much to be saying, hey guys, we're gonna move in together after a week and a half.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
crazy.
lot. That's really a lot. I mean, I'm not one to talk about, getting in relationships quick, getting engaged, married quick, but we were not living together for some years.
Yeah,
So I
a
couldn't
week and a
imagine.
half.
And as a woman, you feel safe living with this random man.
Like,
Okay. I
it's
mean,
nuts.
again, all of this to be for some big master plan. That's a lot of moving around, a lot of back and forth.
It is. There had to be a better way to do this without tricking that man in the mood. Like, she was really like, I'm gonna make this happen as fast as
Like that
possible,
makes
and
her
I'm gonna go
seem
all
really
in.
nuts. And it really isn't addressed how nuts all of this really is. That you're gonna move in with this person so you can get back with this person. And I mean, okay,
So
let
now
me
I
not
got
skip
like
ahead
first,
of stuff.
and when you think about it, like as a kid watching this, like I didn't think about the logistics as of being an adult, but from the logistics of being an adult and being like, so I'm gonna break my lease, move in with you, or you vice versa, and then and your old boyfriend comes back, and then I gotta find a new place. How and where I gotta be homeless or move in with somebody while I find another place, all because you wanted to use me to trick your old boyfriend into coming back? Like, you really messed my whole life up
She
that
could have just
much?
said she was doing all those things. How would he know what she's really doing?
Right,
And
right.
they're in San Francisco with all the lack of parking, all those hills, trying to get a moving truck out. That seems like too much. Those dollies would just go flying into some trolleys at the bottom of the hill. But again, just as her master plan, which we'll find out about later. But Mona, her approach, her response, while I do agree that they're doing too much, she sounded like a hater. She didn't really bring out
She came in
any.
too strong. She came in and she like was immediate like, "Are you crazy? This is stupid." Like, it is like, pump your brakes a little bit. Like,
Like she
relax.
didn't present any real points, and I'm surprised Dee Dee didn't, Miss Lawyer, that she didn't say, "Hey, look at this." And if you think about this, it was just, I
Well,
get
Dee
it,
Dee
I
was
guess, because it
all
came out of
game.
nowhere. where, probably seemed like a shock to her, but I don't know, like you would think that Geneva wouldn't want them to know, because again, she should have known they would react crazily, and she doesn't give a fuck about their relationships with Spencer. None of this matters. None of this matters at all to her.
She willing to throw
She
it all
should
away
have
for this
just
over.
kept this on the low low. Nobody had to
Yup.
know all of that. So after we find this out, then we get what I am have been alluding to, that while they're in the sauna, and Dee Dee has on her full face of makeup in the sauna, but at least the black women has something on their head, I guess. We find out that Geneva doesn't even really want Spencer. This is all some ruse to make her ex jealous, and he'll want her back because she's moved in with this new man. And if
Which
he has to break up his friendships in the process, who cares?
there's just so many levels of chaos that her mind is, because not only it'd be one thing if he had moved on, but he's also moved on. Who even knows if he moved in with his new girlfriend? So he's in a whole nother
You didn't think
relationship,
this plan out very
and you
well.
contriving a whole nother relationship just to make him jealous. It was a risky plan. What if this man move in with you all to make that man jealous, and then that man still don't want you because he likes what he already has? Then what do you do? Like, it's just such
Why
a
is Nurse
messy.
Merce friends with this person? I hope she reevaluated that
I,
relationship.
yeah, I
Yes.
don't know, man, but yeah, she was confided in Nurse Merce, and then as soon as they exit, turned out popped Dee Dee. She was in the background the whole time.
Like, I get it, you're in a sauna. That's, I suppose, an intimate setting, but similar to on Beyond the Gates, they have all of their top secret conversations loudly in public. And I'm just like, damn, you don't even turn around to see who's behind you or whatever. You
That's the
just
crazy
start
part. Like,
yapping.
I assume they saw it was a person, but since she had something on her head and she was covered up, like they just didn't know it was her. But they had to know that it was somebody. So like I would have been a little quieter. I would have moved to somewhere
I
else
mean,
to have
if you're
this.
talking about something like that, you might want to
Right.
have a little privacy. And Merce didn't really push back enough for me. She
She
was
didn't. At
just
first she
like,
was just like, "Are you gonna really do that?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "All right then, girl." Like she's just
right.
like,
She didn't think to say, hey, Dee Dee, we're friends, and this is what's happening to your friend. Who cares? I guess she's got better things. This is why we didn't see you no more, Merce. You got shot.
all's right. All's fair in love and war. I guess that's what they said.
She
So
said she got her
is
own problems. But oh, she's not a nurse. Why do I keep calling her Nurse Merce? She's a doctor. Let me put some respect on her
yes,
title.
they
Dee Dee
wanted her
wanted
to be
her
Nurse
to be
Merce.
Nurse Merce. I didn't call her this lady nurse about 80 times. Sorry,
Diddy was
Dr.
right
Merce.
because that is a great nickname. Her
It's catchy.
nickname could
It's
have been
catchy.
Nurse Merce.
But after that, then we're back at Dee Dee's apartment. And again, with the
Yep.
great background acting, it's a very blink and you'll miss it moment. But Phyllis is walking around and looking at Dee Dee's apartment, and she picks up a picture of Big Dee Dee, and they cut it right when she picks it up because I feel like she probably did something, made a
Yeah.
face or whatever.
Yep.
But, she could have just been standing back there. But no, she's walking around, picking stuff
Yep.
up. Talent. The fact that she
Yep.
still has to audition to this day, Thelma Hopkins, is insane to me.
Crazy.
Don't worry, I'm writing something and you're the main character in it. But
Yes.
I find it interesting that they had to have like this huddle session, like, okay, everybody, let's get together. Like Phyllis looks stressed, like she was going through it. And I'm like, is it that serious?
She was in full mama bear mode as they tried to figure out like what do we do about this situation and this information we have at hand. Like how do we tell them? Who do we tell? Do we tell?
This
What do we
whole little
do?
summit. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe today they would just FaceTime, but it seemed very like war room. Like, oh my God, we have
It
to figure
was.
something out. I'm like, all right,
It
relax.
was.
Like, it's not all that.
And speaking of war room, when Phyllis was ready to go to war, and she's like just ready to attack somebody. That was her whole
Yeah,
strategy of
it's Phyllis from Detroit, like Thelma Hopkins is from Detroit, so she's talking about a good old-fashioned Detroit hurting. So
yeah,
maybe that's some lore
must
that
be.
we'll just never know. But um, Big Dee arrives, and same complaint as always, not enough Phyllis and Big Dee. That one little ass scene for Big Dee is criminal, but she delivers as always. And now I would love to see Big Dee as Dorothy in The Wiz in Phoenix. I need a Big Dee origin story when she was just Dee.
Yes.
Like, can we get a prequel or something? I would love to see her taking the Southwest by storm at her
It
community
was
theaters.
it was hilarious how she came in and like they was completely focused on this one thing, and she came in and completely didn't care at all, and started telling her origin story about when she went to New York and to do Broadway and her dance, and then she started talking about being in the Wiz and started singing the song. And at one point, I think even Lil Dee Dee was like, "What do this got to do with anything?" And she was like, "Nothing." But since y'all, she got to tell her story. She was
Right.
so Phyllis get to tell her story all the time, so I'm gonna tell mine. Like,
And Phyllis looks so over it, and you can see Mona like tugging on her sleeve, like, "Come on, you got to listen to this." If I'm listening to this again with the great background acting,
yep.
but that was the only time we got to see her, unfortunately,
It was real quick.
and
I
very.
did think we've been asking, we've been wondering if they was Democrats or Republicans, and real quickly she did
Mhm.
say something about, like, she was like, okay, when she popped in, and at first she was pretending to care and was gonna help. She was like, maybe I can help. What is it? Is it money crisis? Is it this
Mhm.
crisis? And then she was like, why can't the Democrats get their act together crisis? Because mama's good, but not that good. Which I assume that means she would try to help because she is a Democrat. I wasn't 1,000% sure because it was also shady at the same time. So
It was giving me, I'm gonna vote Republican because the Democrats don't have their.
maybe that's probably it. That was
That's
probably it.
what I was getting out of that. She and Cheryl Underwood, lifelong Republicans. But I also will say my read of the week will be Dances with Hooves, which is what
Yes.
Phyllis said to Big Dee Dee. And shockingly, Big Dee Dee kind of let that slide,
Yeah.
even though she read her a couple of times up on entry, like, "Oh, I didn't know you had company in Phyllis." And then she says
Yeah.
something else. So they finally got to see each other. They hadn't seen each other in, well, they saw each other Thanksgiving, but they haven't, had the same that sparring that we like, no
Right.
staircase hallway scenes in a minute. Still waiting for more of those. But they really didn't come up with too great of a solution. It was just like, don't say anything because then they'll blame you, which I don't agree with that advice. Do you?
I mean, it's happened. I do get it. Again, I've been in that situation where, like, you try to tell somebody something about somebody who they like, and somehow it becomes your fault and your problem, and then you like,
I mean, I like
I
to
could
have
have said nothing.
receipts to back up what I'm saying, but at
You
the end of the
definitely gonna need some
day,
receipts. But again, I don't know. Like, they only had word of mouth. Like, I do think if I have receipts, I'm like 100%. I'm gonna handle this. But like, if I don't, I'm
I just
probably
feel
gonna
like
wait
I
until I
have
get
to
some
say
receipts.
something. I have to have my say. Now, you can take from it what you wish, but I'm gonna say what I got to say because I don't want to be blamed later. Like, oh, why didn't you tell me? Nor do I want to, be watching stuff unfold, being like, damn, I should have said something. So maybe I'm
Yeah.
just doing it for my own
That's
guilty
originally how
conscience.
I was and how I did it. But again, having been in that situation, I'm like, all right, now y'all got it. But I do think she had some good advice. I think it was Big Didi who was just like, just tell her, like, don't tell him, just like handle it directly through her. And I think while that's not as easy a thing to do because she's not as close to them as Spencer is, so like it's a little harder to go directly to her for them, but I do think that is the smarter, safer route, even though it doesn't pan out here.
Well, I would expect him to listen to them more and not just totally disregard like people you've known for, well, Dee Dee not as much, but Mona you've known for 7 years. But because Smoopy or whatever her name is, Schmoopy, because she says something, you're not going to listen. And it's interesting seeing Daphne play this role because Nicole on Beyond the Gates is like the moral center, and because she's a world-renowned, psychiatrist. So she's always the one that's, keeping everybody grounded. So to see her be the agent of chaos was quite an interesting turn. And her nemesis on Beyond the Gates, Leslie Mann Grant, who was in a stage play with Thelma that I saw many years ago before I
Hmm.
even knew who she was. Her character, Leslie, is her nemesis. So she was really giving Leslie, for those of you that watch that, and the
Mm.
exchange with them was kind of how Nicole acts when she's having to get Leslie together. So it was very interesting to see that side of her. But that just shows what a great actress she is, I guess. But I'm just so used to seeing her be the good, nice one. So for her to just not give a
Man,
damn, I did not
she turned
recall.
it on. Like, they
Right.
tried to so eloquently be nice about it, and they were like, "Hey, we found out, we heard what you said, but check it, we ain't even gonna trip. We're not even gonna tell him. We just asking you to break it off. We can all move on and forget this whole thing happened." They said it as calmly as possible, and she went off on their ass.
Psychopath
like,
is what she was
like
giving.
she she went all the way off. It did to the point where like she went off so bad on specifically at Mona that Dee Dee felt like she had to stand up for Mona and like Dee Dee bucked up and like stood up for Mona like, hey, you're not gonna talk to my sister like that. Like, chill out, relax.
Yeah. Didn't you see her core strength? She could take you, Geneva.
Exactly, exactly.
Mona was
But
having
then
flashbacks to when she got her glasses broken and her tuba and stuff. That's why she was so scared and hiding behind
she
little things.
was. She was. Maybe that's why she needed to work out so she can just be more strong mentally because she could be more strong physically. Maybe it will help her out. But
Mhm.
Geneva did not give a damn and she killed them with the closer line of like like what you're gonna do is gonna be your word against mine. You may think you have his ear, but remember, I'm grabbing on to way more than that. And then she walked
Inappropriate.
out. And I was like, damn, that's a good line and a good point because it do be working.
She's giving very much borderline personality disorder. I'm going to diagnose
Yes.
her. So she went from being the one that needs mental help to being the one providing the mental help in her
Right.
show. But I wonder again, like, how much of this Merce had seen? Like, would this be new information? She had to have seen the
Right.
side of her. She could not possibly have missed all of these cues and whatnot.
Ain't
So
no
that
way.
makes me question you, Merce. You are the company you keep, which is why you got chopped. But after that, then we go back to the no, no, then we're going to Mona's before
Yeah.
we go back to the Lush Lounge where they have the confrontation, and he calls her bitter and lonely, which is not untrue, but rude still.
It was, I mean, he fell for the trap. Like, first of all, Geneva set the trap perfectly and he fell for it perfectly. Like, she was ahead of everything that Mona would say. So then he told him that she would say all these things, which made her seem like she was telling the truth, which
Mhm.
made which made her the trustworthy person in the situation. So then he was calling her Mona a liar and saying she was jealous and bitter and all of these old things. And I was like, damn, she laid the trap perfectly.
Well, Geneva is one of those male-centered women that we hear so much about, and
Yep.
having had, my fair share of female friends who throw everything away for some loser and don't want to talk to anybody else and whatever, and a lesbian that did the same. I can, just really resonate with how Mona probably felt because that's
Yeah.
insane to me. Like, I am married and I still talk to who I want to talk to and do what I want to
Right.
do. So why people act like, oh, we're dating, so I have to devote my entire essence to this person.
Right.
That's another way to show how nuts Geneva really truly was, that she's
Yeah.
so obsessed and feels she's 26 and she feels like she has to have this man and her life won't be complete. I mean, maybe
Meanwhile, her life is literally complete. Early before they set her up, she was like, "I'm 26. I got a job, a house, a car. Like she has all the
an
things. I got
assistant to a
money."
very gay man who thinks I'm sassy. Not sure what the point of that was, but
It
okay.
was very weird. It was
Good
I
to
skipped
know.
over that. I skipped over that earlier, but yeah,
Like she needs to be one of Phyllis's patients, clearly.
yeah.
But that
But it
was
was
kind of
funny
messed
that
up
he.
though.
It was funny that he like stormed out like, all right, like yeah, you a lying, petty, jealous hag or whatever, and left. And then he knocked 5 seconds later, and then was like, "Can I use the bathroom real quick though? Because I had too much iced coffee at lunch."
I in my
Like,
head,
sir,
I was like, man, I think she let some in, but no, she didn't. Good.
she did
Did he
not.
call her a petty, jealous hag, or was that your
That's
interpretation?
my summary. He said
Oh,
petty
I was
and
like,
jealous.
damn, he said all
I
that.
feel like he said something like a hag.
Hag.
I don't remember what the word,
That's
but
harsh.
that was the sentiment.
It was the general feeling. And after that, again with these quick scenes, now we're back at
Yeah.
Lush Lounge, and we have Karen, who is guest star Jasmine Lewis. I couldn't think of what I knew her from, but I knew her, and I looked it up, and she was in the Barbershop movies, and she was in For Your Love, the
Yes, I love
sister
me some Jennifer.
show.
I love her. She's always just fun and like all the things. She's another one of like those staples
Mhm.
of like the late 90s, early
Yeah, it was a
2000s.
lot
Just
of
like,
like Moesha, like all those shows. So I'm like, I
yeah,
know I cannot think of a specific role, but I've seen her in a bunch of
exactly.
stuff.
She just one of them faces.
hmm
Yep.
So she comes in because they're Mona and Dee Dee come in and they see that Spencer and Schmoopy are caking it. Do they still say caking? I don't know. At the Lush Lounge, and she's like, "Oh, let's get out of here." And she was
Yep.
saying how it feels weird to be in the same room and they're not talking. And I can relate a little bit. I was in line at Aldi the other day, and the guy in front of me spent the night when I was in my 20s and single. And of course, I didn't say anything to him. I'm like, damn, this is weird. I can, have you in my home overnight.
Right.
We ain't even do nothing. So talk about a waste.
Yeah.
And now I'm not even going to acknowledge your presence. So that's not
Right.
quite the same as a 7 year best friendship. But I see you, Mona. I see you.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, but I would have probably said something. Maybe I'm just confrontational, but I would have probably gone over there and been like, "Oh, so this is what we doing," and flip the table or something. But she, a little, Real Housewives, but she just wanted to be in the corner and not be seen or actually leave. But Dee Dee
Yeah.
made her stay, and then we see why she made her stay, because Karen pops up and decides to shake the table, we'll say, because she really didn't go up to her. Geneva came to her, which
Yeah.
made
Geneva
it
came
seem
to
even more
her.
crazy.
Yep, recognizing that she's the new girlfriend of her ex-boyfriend. Basically, she's the one that's why he left Geneva. So she came over with beef, ready to again. She's always ready to. She
And
don't
Mona
ever run
was
from a
scared
confrontation.
again, talking about if she
Yep.
hits me, I'm just gonna fall to the ground. Which is a good method. I always say,
It is.
if I was somewhere and they shooting or whatever, I'm
Play
just gonna
dead.
fall. I'm just
Yep,
falling
play
on the
dead.
floor. So, because they're not gonna keep going after you. So, Mona, I like the way you think, but with those
Yep.
tall boots, that's a long drop. But at that point, Geneva comes over and to again showing how fucking crazy she is. She's
Yeah.
telling the current girlfriend, "Oh, he's gonna leave you for me because I'm with him and he always comes back." Like she doesn't play the typical crazy. Like as she says it, she sounds normal. She's carrying herself in a
Yeah.
normal way, which I like that spin versus, the crazy eggs. But she just that those are the real crazy people, the ones that seem normal. So
Yep.
she's dangerous. I'm surprised they didn't reference her later as being like locked up for stalking or something in a later episode. But
Right.
Jasmine was not Jasmine, Karen was not bothered. She was like, anyway, girl, like she knew her
Yep.
man was with her and she was not worried about her making Geneva seem even more pathetic. But
Facts.
she didn't even think about the fact that, oh, Spencer's right here and can hear all of this. Oops. First
So
one.
then Spencer come over and he's like, "What is that's real? So you just using me to get back with your man?" And like she try to like get out of it, but like doesn't try to get out of it at the same time. Like it was the weirdest
Not
like
very well thought out
reactions.
for this to be a master plan. But
Yeah.
where were they in the moving process? Had she already moved her things in? Is she like, I guess who cares? Geneva's probably end up on the streets now, Skid Row, because she was doing too.
Right.
So that's what you get, Geneva. But do you feel like they forgave Spencer too easily? I do.
I mean, so he does apologize and like try to make up for it or whatever, and he even literally says like, "I'm sorry for calling you lonely and bitter," and then like all of these other things, and I'm like, I guess I get it. Like we all get caught up in chaos, and again, I have to keep reminding myself because these are when these situations that I watched play out would happen in your 20s, and like they in their 20s, so like, all right, I get it, whatever.
Hmm.
They young and
I need
dumb,
a
and
public apology, financial compensation. I need a whole lot of groveling, a new fry daddy. Like she just really
yeah,
let him in real easy.
yeah.
And I feel like for him to turn on them like that,
He
I
did turn
would
so hard, so
I
fast,
would be
man. Like
side-eyeing him. Like,
it
okay, I
probably
see
would
y'all
take me at
playing
least like
tough.
a day. Like I would have heard him out that
A
day, and
day.
then maybe like the next day we could have been cool again. But that was a lot, man. He
We
turned
might
so
have got
fast.
chopped, especially in my 20s. Because I've had a situation, my former best friend and roommate did, something similar and ended up, once they broke up, apologizing. She was lesbian and being like, oh, I don't know why I was like that. I was, just so enamored with her and blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
only to do it again a few years later with somebody else.
They
Hence
they
the
they
former
do it
part.
every time, man. It's so crazy.
So,
I've warned people about situations like that too, and I think maybe once one of the persons apologized, but then another time like they were so shamed that they fell for this trap, and that I tried to tell them, and they were so demonstratively against my warning. And again, like similar to Mona, like call me all kind of names and all kind of stuff. So I'm like, all right, you got it. And they were so embarrassed when it all fell apart that we never became cool again. So I'm like, hey, you got it.
if ever there's a reason to say, you know what I told you, I tell you what I told you. It would
Exactly.
be for something like that. But I guess
Exactly.
since Mona has done similar things, I guess that's just what they do, just continue the cycle of abuse, just
Yeah,
dogging each other out every time they get with somebody and come right back. But I don't
yeah,
think that that's something that Dee Dee would tolerate multiple times because they just met, so they weren't super cool at that point. But
right,
further down the line, I don't think Dee Dee would just be allowing him to keep doing that. I think she would
right.
always check him, but Mona only has one friend, so I guess she
Yeah,
wants
and
to
they,
go
they
more
literally
check.
kind of allude to that at the end of it after they talk about like how they going to well first of all after they're hanging and then they're like well what are we gonna do or whatever and then Dee Dee's like hey I'm not about to hang out with y'all I got a man so I'm about to leave and that's when we remember she has a man and then they start talking about like what all kind of like crazy junk food and whatnot they're gonna get into tonight and how they're gonna be hanging out and then he says I like being lonely with you I think it was him that said it and not Mona. So like that's a little
Yeah, and he
sweet,
says
endearing
something
line.
which I don't know if it was an ad lib because it was so faint as the music was coming on. He's like, I want to get fat with you or something like that.
Yeah,
So I love how Dee Dee's just always mentioning these random people. Like, I got a best friend and she's enough of her own. I got a man. Like, she gonna let you
yeah,
know.
yep,
Okay. And that is nice, that they have their comfort food and their bonding time, their trope of, oh, let's eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's. I guess since
yep,
they're in their 20s, it's okay, but all the stuff they eating these days, you need some Tums, some Atlanta, Pepto, maybe a diaper. So good luck
yeah.
to y'all. But I guess
Because they
if you're
still
in your
again look
20s,
great. So
it's
maybe
okay.
if they should have been, they could have used that as the reason why they needed to work out.
Yeah. And you
Because
don't really hear about Spencer working out like that, but clearly he is.
but he obviously is, yeah. But we never talk about it.
Mm. But yeah, this episode, again, just so quick. They seemed so much longer before. Now they're
Yeah,
like
and
10
it
minutes long, it seems.
then they went back to the gym at the very end for another super quick scene. And like they're both on the treadmill, and then Mona's like going really fast on her treadmill. So then this other girl is about to get off her treadmill. She's like, "Hey, I'm about to leave on this one, and this on like the slow mode or whatever. You can hop on this one." So Mona's like, "All right, cool." And then when the lady walks away, Mona's like checking her out and like starts like complimenting her body and all kind of stuff and then pretends that like she's so into her that like, oh man, I'm tripping. I gotta get to a gym with some men in it. And Dee Dee like, girl, if you don't stop trying to use this trick, you already tried that before. Get your ass back on that fast treadmill and let's do this.
Poor Mona. I mean, the treadmill's the easiest thing, so you can do
It
that one,
is.
I guess. But we never see this gym again, I don't think. So I guess she got over that real quick. But I overall, hmm, of course, could use more Big Didi and Phyllis. That's just a given. There will
Yeah.
never be enough. But how do you feel about it overall?
I mean I loved it. It was like you said, it was very fast, quick, like all the lines hit. I do think that like man, Geneva just could have been maybe toned down a little or
She
just
seems
like I don't know.
psychotic.
I if she was so psychotic and no one was talking about it.
Yeah,
Like
it was not really checked. It was played to be normal. Like, oh, that's just
yeah,
what women do. No, no, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah. And I think it was a lot of that like kind of subliminally in the episode that I have to mark it for. But I mean, I do love the speed of it. I'm gonna just say four out of five mics.
And I think at that time period, a lot of things were accepted that wouldn't be accepted now. I mean, look at Nikki and the Professor. Like, speaking of
Yeah,
psychotic, that
yeah,
would not probably be a thing today. I mean, we did used to have Ava and Gregory, so maybe, but yeah, I don't have anything that I dislike about it. I think because I have watched the whole show, that plays a part in my opinions. Because this is probably one of the first episodes, if not the first, where they do this. Well, I guess Delilah kind of, but it's just like, okay, how many times are going to do this? So I'm probably thinking
yeah.
ahead to all the times it comes back later. So you may have been one of the first, Jay, but I think
Right,
I'm thinking about how many times we see this play out later
right.
on. And I think it seemed weird to have a whole episode focused around it. Like there was no B story. There wasn't really anything about
Yeah,
the main people, Mona and Dee Dee. It was really just about, but it wasn't even really about Spencer. It was about Spencer's girlfriend. So maybe that's why it seems off because Geneva is the
yeah.
biggest part of the episode and she's not a main character. We never heard of her before. We never hear about her again. So it just
Exactly.
seems
So like
weird
with
to
that
focus.
and And the only other focus that they had was the gym. And again, there was no like background logic on why they needed to be here. And I'm not buying that like they're out of shape. And so I needed something. Again, if they would have been like, all right, girl, you was sitting at home too many Fridays, eating too much fried food. I know you look good, but we still gotta work out that inside, girl. So like that's why we're gonna work out. I would have been like, okay, bet that would have made sense for me. That would have tracked.
I
But then
guess
like,
I'll do four mics only because I don't have a legitimate reason to go lower. But
yeah, that's where I'm at.
and no shade. I just feel like there's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
I'm not getting that I need from this
I think
episode.
so. I think it was maybe it was like you said because we know we're not going to see some of these people that much or again, and just like the setup of it all.
Because if
It
that
wasn't like
wasn't,
a home episode. Like it wasn't focused on
yeah,
our girls and what they got
in
going
their
on.
relationship, because most episodes in some form goes back to their progress in their relationship, and there really wasn't any of that. Even though we do see
Yeah,
them hanging out a lot, which is
it
nice.
was good.
But
Yeah, to see them having like some nice fun sister moments, going to the gym, having a good time.
I
But
wonder if how I would feel if Geneva wasn't played by my girl. Like, would I even care about Geneva if not for that?
right,
Probably not, because I didn't really remember much from when I watched it prior to knowing who she was on Beyond the Gates. So
right.
I guess it really was just like, whatever. And now that I know her, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, it's her. So, the character's fine, but I
Yeah,
think
she played the hell out of it.
she really did for her for that to be a guest spot. I just think, okay, yeah, I love her as an actress, but she ain't in the show, so why we seeing so much of her? And I think that's what threw
Right.
me off. And we're in different places. We're barely at the house. We're at the gym now. We're at the lunch. So I think we're just
Yeah,
used because it's so early in the show, used to so much being the same that this was so different that I was just
right.
kind of my head was spinning a little bit, maybe.
I think
Um,
that's what it was. It
but
was we
jokes and
weren't used to our
storyline and all
surroundings.
that were, on par. And I think I was expecting it to be a little more blackety black because a black person wrote it. And
Yeah.
it didn't really feel like, I mean, I don't know what that would have felt like, but it didn't stand out as like, ooh, a black person must have wrote this.
And maybe that's why we had the Kool-Aid Jammer on the treadmill. I don't.
Just throw it out there. He's like, we doing something in here.
We
And
doing something black. Kool-Aid.
when there are episodes written by men on shows that are mostly female cast, I do always, think about would a woman have written this the same way? Do you feel like there were any differences in the plot that maybe we saw because the man wrote it?
Again, that the up top, the reason for these women being in the gym, A, to chase a man, and then B, also then I just thinking about this reminded me of the line that Mona said early on when they were talking about like the different ways that they're like so thirsty for men, and she says she goes to the store to the frozen aisle of the grocery store in a small tiny white t-shirt in the frozen aisle to catch men because we know what white shirts do in
That's
cold
not going to
weather.
catch you a quality man. You
And
might
I was
catch a
like, that's
me.
crazy. It was funny ass line, but I but I was like, that's very crazy. So in between that and stuff, like again, these women being so in shape and then their friends being like skinny still jiggles and stuff, I was like, oh man. But I
And
think these might just be chalked up to the time. I don't know. I don't know
yeah,
if
I
it's
mean,
the man or
Spencer kind of got away scot-free. He could be the problematic guy, and that's fine. And then all the women were kind of made to seem like these like uh gossipy hens butting into everything and talking about all their business in the background and trying to orchestrate what's happening, which I feel like I don't know if a woman would have written it that way necessarily, but perhaps I'm just looking at this with my 2026
I
woke
I think
glasses.
that's probably what it is. I think back then we wouldn't have thought twice about it. And again, we know a woman touched all over it at the end of the day as the boss. So it did not go past multiple women. So I think we're just looking at it through
Just
new
looking for
eyes.
something to complain about. But
Yeah.
but
As we
overall,
do in
good episode.
2026.
And I'm here for it. And hopefully we'll get to hear from Daphne about what it was like guest starring
Yes,
on Half and Half. Maybe I'll reach out. Have your people call
that'll
me.
be good. Yes,
But
indeed.
other than that, I don't feel like I have anything else to say. Other than episode 12, but it has some more Big Dee Dee and Phyllis. I know that.
Yes, we need a hallway scene. We
Yes.
haven't had one in a minute, I don't think.
I'm going to do a stage play, unauthorized half and half parody starring the real cast. Don't let me win the Powerball. But anyway, thank you all for listening, and be sure to follow at the Big Half and Half Pod on all social media.
Yes, sir. See y'all.
Through this journey of discovery, in finding you, I'm finding me. Well, here's where you can find us. Be sure to follow the Big Half and Half Pod on Instagram and Threads. And you can follow Barrett at So Good We Named It on all social media, and Miles at Really Mighty. To get in touch, email us at thebighalfandhalfpodcast@gmail.com. Our theme song is by Jerome Starwalker McKenzie, voice, and J Anonymous. Half and Half was created by Jeffrey Cleric and executive produced by Yvette Lee Bowser. This has been a Mighty Good production.